Alright, so we are back and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video, where today we've got our hands on one of the Monster Hunter exclusives from the collaboration in the new Fusion, who actually brings some really cool fundamentals for many players out there. Like she's got really cool debuffs for the clan boss and multi-hits all around the board to take on stuff like the Fire Knight. But we're going to be discussing a bit about her kit and the ways you could utilize her, and if I feel like she's worth it to go for as a Fragment Fusion. But before we get into that, let me know guys, are any of you hardcore fans of the Monster Hunter franchise? It's been around for years, many games as well, and many different platforms. It's definitely something that I've dabbled into in the past. I've not played like some of the recent ones, but I know that they've got a new one coming out on March, I believe. I think it's number 6, I could be wrong. And also, it's actually their 20-year anniversary, so I think that's the reason why maybe this collaboration even came to fruition, right? But here we go. We got some quad hits coming around the board. Pretty cool. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go, Genzin. No, don't take him out. Oh, thank God. Do you know what? That would have been a worst start to the video ever. I would have just signed off straight away. No more video, guys. But you can see here she came through with 525,000 damage, exceeding everyone else in this team for stage 21 of the Faction Wars, which is pretty cool. Granted that I've not got a built-in Helm Smasher because we've got a Clan Boss showcase to show as well, right? Aesthetic-wise, looks pretty cool, right? Can't bash it. I like it. Pretty sweet. We got the dual blades going on. But what does she really come down to? So starting with the blade combo, she attacks one enemy 3 times and has a 30% chance of placing a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. Now, a triple hit A1 is always welcomed, right? Especially when you consider stuff like the Fire Knight to crack that shield without relying on purely the active skills. So pretty cool, right? And great for those Giant Slayer procs. Now, when we think about the free daily login champion in the Zinogre Blademaster, who I'll do a separate guide on once I get my hands on him, you know, he's got a decreased defense A1, and then she's got the weaken, so if you start pairing them together in a clan boss team, that's going to be the 2 fundamental debuffs you need to optimize your damage, so it's really cool to have that out of a default skill, right? Leading in with the Blade Strike, she attacks one enemy 4 times, with each hit increasing this champion's turn meter by 5%. Now, we know where this is going, right? So for Clan Boss, I'm pretty sure many teams will come to fruition once the community gets their hands on this champion. But what's very unique here is she also has a 30% increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown on all allies. Now, very briefly here, I just want to show you something, just to kind of put it into perspective for players on the fence about this champion. So if we just go into buffs, increased speed. Where are we? 3, 2, 1. I always do the countdown when I can't see things. It's right there, YST. Where is it? Oh my God, there we go. The supersonic. Okay, so to put it in perspective, like there's champions such as Heiress, very cool for clan boss teams, right? On a 3-turn cooldown, also removing those debuffs as well. So obviously there is rares out there that can do the same thing. We've also got champions like Mashald, but in the grand scheme of things, I believe when I was searching, there's around 19 champions in the game that fulfill an AoE increased speed. But she is the only champion that has multi-hits all around the board with that increased speed as well. I think the closest to it will be someone like a Reiselvarg with a triple hit A1, but then he's got AoEs around the board, which is still very cool. But if you need someone for single target multi-hitters for even the city of Sintranos, there's not really any other champion that's going to fulfill that role without utilizing 2 different champs, right? So pretty cool to have 4-time hitters increased speeds in the same ability on a cooldown that we kind of desire. In terms of the blade spin, attacks one enemy 4 times once again. So we've got 4, 4, and 3. That's crazy, right? That's a lot of multi-hits. Kind of reminds me of like a Crew-Traxa a little bit. But here, attacks one enemy 4 times, and before attacking, will place a 50% increased attack on this champion for 2 turns. So let's just say you're progressing in the clan boss, progressing in certain areas, and you don't have the luxury of an increased attack champion in those specific factions or whatever that may be. She's got that self-amplification, so you don't have to rely on these other champions, and that can really come to fruition in the city of Sintranos, once again, where you're kind of limited in terms of what you can use, right? So I'm always a fan of those champions that place it on themselves. The first hit and second hit will actually have a chance of placing a leech, allowing you to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, which is great, whilst also placing a decreased attack from the 3rd and 4th hit. So you know you're getting leech, decreased attack, and weaken for debuffs, also amplifying her damage, whilst also having some other utility as well. And then leading in with this passive with the Essence, increases this damage champion deals by 1% for every 1% of HP lost, which will stack up to 50%. Has some similarities to like Leorius, right? Pretty sweet. But it will also increase the damage to double if a target is under a decreased defense debuff. So if you've got that out there, of course, you're going to have a lot more value coming out from this passive once you're below those thresholds. As an active effect, will prevent this champion's death and keep them alive on a 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit. And if this skill prevents that champion's death, will heal them by 50% of their max HP. But this will not happen if she's under a heal reduction, of course. Now, there's many ways that I've been thinking I can use this. Like, is anyone out there familiar with, like, the Skull Crusher budget unkillable, where you use the Skull Crusher to take the stun, and, you know, it just keeps you in the race, right, instead of having, like, that full coverage? I was just thinking maybe if we can use her in progression as our stun target, and we kind of preempt that hit, that could be a pretty cool take on it to kind of keep you in the race to last those 50 turns. It's definitely something I'm going to try out in the future. But overall, like, if you can even put it in a man-eater team, where you're not forcing the heal, that could be very beneficial as well, but we'll talk about some teams in a second. Last but not least, she's got a speed aura in dungeons by 30%, which is phenomenal, especially for the Fire Knight. Like, that's going to keep you well above board to get to those speeds that you need to take these bosses down, right? So overall utility, just to kind of wrap it up, like we got weakens, we got leech, decreased attack, increased attack, AoE increased speed, multi-hits all around the board, an amazing aura for dungeons, and also a unique passive that only like 1 or 2 other champions in the game kind of utilize like this. So personally, I'm going to be going for it, and especially because of the scarcity value of you're never going to be able to pull this champion again, I feel like it's a no-brainer to kind of go for it, but it's each down to your discretion, and if you feel like she's going to have some values on your account, right? So, okay, the first segment of this video, I do want to go into the clan boss very briefly and discuss some teams that you guys could form together to, you know, highlight a potential. So this is what this build's about. We kind of got attack percent and crit damage, trying to optimize some damage here. So 7.3k attack, 193 speed, 289% crit damage, decent accuracy, and masteries. This is clan boss specific, guys. Wait, is my screen off, by the way? I think it is. All this time, the screen was too big. There we go. I always do that sometimes. I look back at editing, I'm like, why, see, what have you done? So what we're looking for here is a Giant Slayer. Of course, we've got all of those multi-hits, and especially in my team, we're going to be dealing some nice damage. And then we've also gone down to the Master Hexer to extend the value of those weakens if we need be. All those decreased attacks or leeches, right? You could consider also Sniper. I could actually reset that, I guess, but I do want to try use the Methodical because we're going to be using her A1 a lot. Okay then, so we're now in the Demon Lord clan boss on the Ultra Nightmare difficulty using a Demiffer Unkillable team, which I don't think is like the most optimal for her, but I do just want to express that she could be utilized in so many teams by simply locking off their A2 if you feel like it's going to throw you out of tune with that turn meter fill, etc. And also I've got the increased speed from her heiress, so I don't really need that ability at the moment because she's utilizing the cleanse as well, which is pretty sweet. But you can see that in a traditional style team, you're going to be able to place these decreased attacks, place these leeches, allow you to heal while placing a weaken in the process, and pairing it along the free daily login champion if you're first coming into the game. It's going to be a no-brainer synergy, right? Because you're getting the 2 fundamental debuffs and so much utility from those 2 champions alone. I'm a part of the Monster Hunter franchise. As you see, I have got Rods and Scarhide in here just to place our debuffs, and we've just amplified her attack just to see what the damage is looking like. But before we do that, I do want to express some other teams that you could kind of consider here. So if I just bring up some calculator teams that we put together. That's one of the guides. So this is one variation if I just move myself out of the way. Wise team move. There we go. Thank you very much. So this is like a Siren Eater in a sense, because if you consider block damage, we're not really taking any damage, right? And we want to be at that 50% threshold. Therefore, we can deal some more damage against the boss and see her true value. So I definitely feel like the Man-Eater teams may be more optimal for the unkillable routes. But in this team, we've got decreased defense and weaken covered from our Lydia. And why is this important, you might be asking? Because she does place that leech, making her heal, so you're not getting the full value out of her passive skill. So if you're really trying to ramp up that damage, I feel like this kind of synergy is going to be most optimal. And I will leave these speed tunes in the description below if you fancy checking them out. Also, there's one like this with the Deacon Eater. Could be an option, but you will be having the leech in the team, but you will have weaken and decreased defense when you pair both of these together. It's kind of like that Whisper problem, right? She doesn't bring both the debuffs we want, just the weaken or the decreased defense. It's like, you know, you have to bring in another champion to kind of fulfill those roles. But this is just some other ideas that you guys could consider, or just any of your traditional teams out there, just to utilize those debuffs that you might be missing out on, or you might be lacking because it's on active skills, right? Or not 100% chances. So just thought I'd throw that in there. So how's she doing? There we go. She's doing okay so far. Let's head out of here. Let's just do a quick battle feature. Speed up a little bit. So we just go quick battle. Let's just see the overall damage here. And remember, we are not optimizing our passive. This is just pure raw damage coming out from this champion. So we got a 90 million key coming in at 32 million damage, which is about average. Is pretty decent, I guess. But, you have to think about the utility she's bringing. It's not just raw damage like a Ronda is, right? She comes in with those counterattacks. It's pretty cool. But if you're talking about traditional teams where you want these debuffs, Blademaster would definitely be the one that I would be picking. So, okay, that was a bit of Clan Boss for you guys, just to see her a bit in action. And let's just discuss some other areas as well. I did want to bring up the hellhades.com guide. So if you have a look here, there's actually got masteries here. We've got recommendations for blessings. So if anyone has the luxury of pulling those, some options for you there. And also the damage multipliers around the board as well, which is around the same for the A2 and the A3, and a little bit less on the A1 with a 1.2. In terms of areas, we feel like Hydra is going to be very cool, especially in those earlier stages, to tank through those heads, play some good debuffs, and multi-hits all around the board to pair with those Hex champions, right? Pretty cool. Clan Boss, of course, as we mentioned, she's going to be very, very good for many players out there. And MVP, when you talk about Fire Knight on both of the difficulties, due to those multi-hits, right? And even in the City of Sintranos, if we get a Shadowkin, rotation, and you're trying to do the Fire Knight, she's going to be the first one in line to put into those teams because you're going to be cracking that shield like no man's business. Magma Dragon, of course, is all single target. We're dealing good damage, decreased attacks, etc. And yeah, just general utility around the board. But those would be the 4 areas that we'd be highlighting. In terms of builds, you could be going for Savage and Lethal if that's what you're trying to look for a pure damage dealer. Could be beneficial with like Cruel, Fatal, or Speed for PvP. And then in terms of PvE, we could be looking at, Perceptions and Speeds and Relentless because you want to proc those extra turns, and that could be very viable because she's got all of these multi-hits, right? Crack down that shield quick as possible, and boom, well on your way to victory. So I'll leave this in the description as well below, guys, if you want to go and check it out. And we've got a bit of an overview as well for all of the champions that you might pull in your rosters. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rebuild her now. Let's build her for like a Fire Knight team, and, we'll head into there. Let's get into it. Okay then, so I've just actually rebuilt her into a lethal gear, but we still kept her in the Giant Slayer as well for the procs on the Fire Knight. And I actually took out my Genzin, which is Sad Times, who comes with the AoE decreased defense and great damage to get through these waves efficiently. But she is going to do a relatively good job here. We don't have decreased defense, so we're not getting through the waves as quickly as I would like to on stage 6. But, overall, she's doing some decent numbers around the board, which we would see towards the end. It's actually my first time trying her in Fire Knight, so it's pretty cool as well. So here we go. We're just going to get through this wave, go to the boss, and see those multi-hits in action, right? So, boom. And then we'll probably take it into stage 25 as well, which will be a lot more easier to just get through the waves. I'm actually using Blizzard the Howler. I got a separate guide coming out for him soon, so stay tuned. I've been loving this dude. I never thought I would, not gonna lie. I only went for it because it was kind of unique in the sense of, the AoE freezes, the A1 like a newt, and, pretty cool for maybe Sintranos if the Ogrins get into there, right? Here we go. 2 minutes 34, we'd usually be done with a Genzin, to be fair. This is about the time that I farm in for stage 6. There we go, boom, boom, boom. Up against the boss. This is what we really want to see, right? The utility here. So we're going to be opening up with these. Ally attacks are going to come through. That shield's going to be down. Look at that. It's beautiful. Come through with another ally attack. Nice. Look at that. All the way down with the freeze. This is why I love Blizzard as well. But she's bringing in that increased speed. So we're now going to, take our turns more effectively and get around our active skills with someone like a Newt, which is pretty cool. All right, now we're just kind of just waiting here, chilling. It's a bit awkward. Come on, we're 4 minutes in now. But it's still pretty cool to see her at work, right? All right, there we go. Bless Bash should be finished now, pretty much. Can she get the final hit? Oh, it came through the ally attack. Technically, it was her in the end, right? But how much damage did she do? That's what the main thing we want to see here is. So she came through with 1.5 million. Second after Newt, of course, but pretty cool in this team. So I've just put together a quick team to take on stage 25 using a lore. I'm not sure if we're going to completely annihilate the waves. That's completely fine. I just want to see the utility once we actually come up against the boss. We don't really have crazy amount of buffs here, right? But boom. Oh, so we did manage to one-shot on that one. Pretty sweet. I didn't kind of expect that, but there we go. Drop defense and weaken. Can we one-shot this one as well? And boom. Oh, pretty close on that one. That's fine. We got the Blademaster to slash off the rest of them. Keep that 10 meter down. Just coming through with one more slash here, and boom. So once we come up against the boss now, we should have full 10 meter control. We don't have decreased speed, but on stage 25 at the speeds I'm going, shouldn't be a problem here. So there we go. Back that down a little bit more. We're now going to get our drop defense and weaken out from our Lady the Death Siren. You know, amplify our damage. So that's just raw hits there. No increased attack. Keep that 10 meter down and low. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Increased attack. So we're seeing around, you know, about, was it 40 times 4? Pretty decent. The main utility is just, you know, cracking that shield if you're lacking these multi-hitters like a Crew Traxxer or a multiple Allure, whatever that may be. You know, you could just bring her in for the raw damage and, you know, placing herself buffs here. With the increased speed as well, allowing us to cycle our skills if you don't have someone like a Lydia the Death Siren. So let's see, is she going to be the MVP for damage here? She might well be after Seer because she blows up the waves, right? Alright, so we never managed to do it in 2 minutes, that's fine. That's fine. So for this finite, do I actually feel like she's going to be worth it? I guess it's subjective, depends on player level. Like, if I'm early game, I'm lacking multi-hitters, I am definitely looking towards this champion. If I was, you know, more end game and I had like newts and stuff and I'm just max HPing through it, then obviously she might not make the squad, but that speed aura is very hard to pass up on, and she did come through with 1.7 million damage, which is pretty impressive against the boss there, right? So pretty happy with her overall in terms of progression values, but you know, even in finite hard like you've seen, cracking that shield can definitely come to fruition with that increased speed buff. In terms of the way that I built this champion for the second part of this video, we went with the lethal gear, of course. We never went crazy fast. We're going at 236, 280% crit damage and decent attack. Nothing like outlandish like the first showcase with the Demon Lord Clan boss. So just wrapping up the video here, we're going to dive into a few arena battles and just see her value as a single target nuker with pretty decent gear. Like, just for a glimpse here, I did change her into Helm Smasher as well and took away her accuracy values. But she's going at just under 6,000 attack and 274% crit damage, and hopefully we can go through those multi-hits and take out this Rotos. We've got up against some full teams as well, but I just want to see that value first. Because she has magic, pretty good affinity for it, right? Alright, so there we go. Let's just sleep you. Let's get this increased attack on. We're going to have to cycle the skill again. It's not a problem. We could just go with a Hex, you know, so she can sleep herself. Thank you very much. I love it. We can back up. It's fine. Oh, she got polymorphed. Was that Hex? We sent back the polymorph. All right. Here we go. So we're going to go with... I guess they're very similar multipliers. We'll go with the self-amplification of increased attack. As to be expected. It's not crazy damage, but those multi-hitters will be pretty decent. Can we take out this sheep now? I'm just going to leave it on full auto. Oh, it's a 2-time one as well. All right, let's get her back up. There we go. Hey, stop trying to attack her. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and she's gonna finish. Oh no, wait, we're coming back with the Rotos again. Let's focus on it. Nice, took him out again. And now we got a Swift Parry. Beautiful. What a troll this is. Oh man. Alright, finished them off, and there we go. So the problem is there's actually so many top tier teams and there's so many UDKs and she's the wrong affinity to take them out. So we'll just go with this one as the last one. We could try fighting other Rotos, right? We've got increased attack. Okay, so let's get a Hex on you. Why not? And let's take out the Rotos first. Nice, he's down. Get a reset. Hey, look at that. Slept the Urska Warcaller. That's funny. Alright, let's get another Hex on you. Ooh, and we could take out the Sivy next. Ooh, nice. Pretty good. Actual raw damage isn't insane, but we're not using decreased defense, guys. Remember that. And we haven't taken her down to that 50% value and getting that extra bonus from the passive as well. This is just pure 100% HP raw damage here. Alright, so next one, let's take out the Krisk. And there we go. With the ally protection as well, we completely took them out. So, you know, she could have some value in progression for Arena, and I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot of her in the free-to-play series when we're trying to fight in Arena for everyone that went for it and still progressing through the ranks. But yeah, on that note, guys, that is going to be all for today's video. And just to answer the question, is she trash or pass? I think she's a really cool champion that fulfills many fundamentals for players, like does have arena value, right? Also in the clan boss and the Hydra and the Fire Knight, of course, you're probably going to see her come to fruition as you're coming through the game. And, you know, because we can't get her ever again, I'm definitely going to go for it. But you guys can let me know in the comment section below your overall thoughts on her as well. I wish you an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you for the free-to-play series. I'll see you all in a video soon. Peace.